Okay, here we go. Let me get into the system here. All right. Okay, back in the place where everybody seems to like. Last video I made, the Bonham thing. You know, I got such overwhelming response from the 5 people who watch my videos. No, actually, that's wrong. You know, the thousands of people that watch the videos of the last Bonham thing, and especially the ending that everybody seemed to like, which I was totally perplexed by, to be honest. Those of you who know me, that's not really the way I play very often, that kind of big, heavy rock kind of style, but I've been told that that's something everybody likes. However, I'm going to go absolute opposite of that today. But we are going to talk about drum solos, and we're going to talk about some concepts where you can come up with a drum solo. Because everybody sees guys, you know, with tons of chops, and they play all this cool stuff, and they get kind of overwhelmed, and well, how do I do a drum solo? So I'm going to tell you how I used to do a drum solo when I was like, I don't know, probably 14 or something like that. I found an old cassette tape. Does anybody know what that is? Anyway, this cassette tape had this 15-minute solo of me. Most of it was incredibly boring. I don't like long solos, but you know, when you're 15, you think it's cool. But so as I listened to some of the stuff that I did then, I thought, well, some of it was interesting. And then I thought about why I played that way. And some of my students, especially Big Joe Soretti, oftentimes ask me, what are you doing? Or why do you play that way? Or why do you do those things? So I really think if you listen to certain people, it sort of becomes part of your playing. So, you know, throughout the years, the many years of your life, this is getting pretty deep, you can see different people sort of influencing your playing. And at a young age, the first record I ever got was a Buddy Rich record and a Gene Krupa record at the same time. And to be honest, although Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, both two of my favorite players of all time, at that time, I actually didn't like Buddy Rich because I got the worst Buddy Rich record ever. It was a record that he didn't really do solos on. I think he's only had one like that, and that was the first one I got. But I got the best of Gene Krupa, and Gene Krupa, for those of you that don't know, let me give you a little history lesson on drumming. For those of you that don't know, Gene Krupa is the drummer that made the drums a solo instrument. Before Gene Krupa, the drummers just kept times. As a matter of fact, they might have just had a bass drum and maybe a hi-hat. Sometimes you see these old pictures and you're like, what did they do? Well, they kept time. That's all they did. And then Krupa came along and did this song called Sing, Sing, Sing with Benny Goodman. And he did this thing on the floor tom, and you know, at that time, whatever that was, the 30s or whatever, you know, the kids just went crazy. Those crazy kids, they heard that crazy floor tom pattern, and they just went insane. They couldn't control themselves. And that floor tom pattern is something like this. Okay, so that was kind of the sing thing. So fast forward, I don't know, 50 years, and I get my record, and I'm in my basement, and I'm listening to stuff, and it just sort of becomes part of your playing. So I developed these solos that I could do based on jazz guys, but you could definitely use it in rock. And so I want to show you some simple things. You don't have to have great speed necessarily. You don't have to have great technique, which I'm sure I didn't have when I was 15. So you just have to sort of have a feel. And I think one of the big things I noticed is I was, as with Sing, 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 I was swinging my 16th notes, okay? So because jazz is triplet based, and I don't know if any of you know, but I'm a big fan of triplets. I'm a big fan of triplets. So, but I didn't even know probably why. You know, it just was something that happened. So when you hear 16th notes, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, if that's all you're used to playing, then you're never really going to cop this sound, which is this swung 16th note thing. Or you could think of them as swing eighths. It's the same thing really, but we're gonna think of them as 16th note swung. So 1 E and a 2 E and a becomes 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. So instead of sing 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 sounding like, it sounds like totally different sound, totally different feel. So you got to get that first. It doesn't have to be fast. So instead of, it becomes, okay. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to swing the 16th notes. And when we say that, it's basically, well, I don't want to get too much into it, but you're kind of playing them sort of like triplets with that middle triplet taken out. That's kind of the swing thing. Okay. Anyway, the sound is what you're trying to get. Okay. So then, the drummers back then, everyone liked my Bonham, all that kind of tom stuff. And I guess people like that. It's never been my thing, but everybody loved it when I did it on the thing. Oh, it sounded better than the Bonham riff. Okay. And I appreciate that. That's very cool. But this is something, and some people said, oh, they couldn't play that or whatever. I think this is something that you can play. To me, it sounds way hipper than that, but that's just me. So we're going to swing the 16ths. We're going to start off with a simple phrase, which I'll never remember. I had it, but I'll never remember it now. I think we're going to do something like, that's not it, but as you know, I have a hard time remembering things, but I'm going to try a different one, because this might be a little easier. So that's it. That's it. Okay, so a couple things. Tempo's not fast. Okay? Okay, that's the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tempo. Okay. Swing 16. Okay. Some kind of rhythmical pattern. Pull out your Ted Reed book. Go to the back of the Ted Reed book. Look at a couple of those accent patterns. You'll come up with an accent pattern. So you come up with one, whatever it is. Okay. So what do we do with that? That sounds kind of plain. I know I've probably done 4 different rhythmic patterns already. That's just me being me. You know, I've gotta be me. Should I start singing right now? I could do a singing lesson if you want. Okay, so 16. So we're gonna add some things. We're gonna make it kind of sound a little more intense, and we're thinking for like a rock solo or something. But I'm gonna get into the jazz thing too. Okay, so for the rock solo, we want to add some punch. We want to add some intensity. We want to add some growl. You know, so we're gonna add our bass drum. Okay, so we're gonna accent the accents that we're playing. We're going to add bass drum to that. We can accent the accents with our bass. Sounds bigger. We can also do what Neil Peart kind of famously did, is we're going to put just a quarter note bass drum underneath it. That adds a little more bass to it. And then maybe we'll build up again and we'll put 8th note bass drum under it. Okay, so now we're getting this. Now we're getting somewhere. But now if we build it like that, you know, you always want to build your solos. You know, you start off with a shots on every accent, right? So you got to get used to playing rim shots. Rim shots just sound bigger, they sound fatter. Also, if you move your drumsticks in closer to the rim, you get a thinner sound as opposed to... So sometimes you want that sound again. Okay, so we got quarter note bass drum, we got eighth note bass drum. Okay, and we come up with, again, tempo. What's the tempo? Nothing. We could do our hi-hat. Chick thing. Huge fan, and not just because chick is in the name. Get it? Chick? Korea? No, not just because of that. Now I'm going to do something revolutionary right now. I'm going to move the camera. This is a first for the DW drum methods. This is like high tech. I'm going to actually pick the camera up. I'm going to move it so you can see my foot. This is a real easy technique. You get this splash. All I do is heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. All right, are we ready? Here we go. Camera in hand, high tech, Spielberg's watching. I don't know if this looks right. Let me see, where's my foot? And we get an angle on it. Hey, that looks pretty good. I know it's turned weird. Hang on. Hey, look at that. Okay, so you do heel, you get the splash, and then you hold down with your toe. Heel, toe. Splash, 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 splash thing. All right, now is the camera back in place? Am I perfectly in frame again? We don't know because I don't edit. Okay, so there's that possibility. You could add that to the mix. Again, all with the... Okay, accents. That's all it is. Okay, one other thing to add to the mix. This accent pattern, I like this grouping of, I do these 7s, 5s, 2s, okay? And this is kind of a rock thing. And what I do is, I count my 7s, taka, 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 ta, taka, 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 ta, okay? 5s, taka, taka, ta, taka, taka, ta. And then, singles, just, I guess, whatever you count for your singles. Taka? I don't know. Okay. So, if we think of those 7s and we accent, a double, no doubles. I'm doing all singles here. Those are the 7s, and then the 5s. And then, of course, just alternating. How do I alternate? I don't know how to alternate. There we go. Okay. So it's every 3 then after that. Okay. You put all that together and you get this sound. Cool. That's pretty heavy duty. That's pretty rock stuff. I would turn into Tommy Lee right now if I lost like 100 pounds and I had tons of tattoos on me. I would look just like him, and I'd sound just like him too. Anyway, let me do that again because I like that. Okay. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to do the whole thing now. So I'm going to get the idea of. We're going to start it. Tempo's so slow. It's a great tempo. all right, I got a little carried away, but you get the idea. So it's such a cool groove. Okay, so you take that, and the jazz guys would do that same thing, and they would just kind of play around. You've seen guys, or maybe you haven't seen. I shouldn't say that because no one listens to jazz anymore. It's a shame. It's a shame. But you hear guys, they would play like they would do solos like that. Okay, but they would play more. Buddy Rich, you would see him do that all the time. You know, I'm not going to play like Buddy Rich, but he would do all these snare drum, all these incredibly unhumanly fast snare drum solos, and he would put that bass drum eighth notes just pounding for the sort of this motion, this forward motion. And it's now that's a lot of doubles and singles, but that was my Buddy Rich impression. As bad as that was the best I could do though. But in general, again, that's like the next level. But you could start off. You gotta get the accents. It's all about accents. If you just play and play it. Had to check the watch there for a minute. It's all about accent. That's it. Accents. I like the 7-5-2 kind of bass drum thing. You could also move that around with cymbals. Let me think. Okay, you got to build up to that. That's not something you'll do by next weekend. Probably, but if you practice enough. Okay, so again, I'm out of breath here. Buddy Rich will get you out of breath every time. You know, he died of a heart attack. I wonder why, buddy. Okay, so to review, simple accent pattern. Swinging the 16th notes, 1 and 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the... Accent with the rim shot to get a different sound. Quarter note bass drum. Eighth note bass drum. Sevens, fives, and then triplets, which are... and so on. And anytime you can mix roughs into that, everybody likes a good rough. Hey, there's your Bonham thing, right? Bonham starts off with, there's your rough. So if you're going, all those, a little rough goes a long way. Okay. I had this cool crossover that I did with a triplet thing. What do you think of that? Crossover was absolutely free, no extra charge for the crossover. I just played it just to do something fun. It all started off with Sing, Sing, Sing. That wasn't Sing, Sing, Sing. Okay, there you go. Practice, practice, practice. Lots to do there, but it really, as hard as that might sound, it really starts from this. Or actually, not even that. I think the main thing is the swung 16th notes. You got to get used to swinging those. If you can swing those, you get this groove that you can't get any other way, and I don't think people think about it. So they don't do it as much. Everything is straight. And there's nothing wrong with 16th notes. Nothing wrong with 16th notes. I just prefer. Actually, I don't even necessarily know if I prefer it. It's just different. They both sound cool. But the swung 16ths are probably a little more unique, I would say. Okay, practice, practice, practice. I should be hearing these solos running through the halls next week. I have no doubt it's going to happen. Joe, Anna East, Bill, Big Tom Schreiner, Big Frank, and all the many others. I'm talking behind the camera. I'm the director now, as I look. Totally the director.